half of your class, you looked at diabetes. And I want to say diabetes is the easiest, especially type 2 diabetes, is the easiest of condition to reverse. Typically, it takes us 10 days max, even for a person on a high level of insulin, we can get them off of it. Type 1 is a little different because it's a structural problem where the beta cells of the pancreas has lost its ability to make sufficient amount of insulin and the utilization of insulin. So, but it too we can help that tremendously depending on how severe the case is. But the thing about diabetes is we create that problem. It is not a condition where you just genetically going to be prone to unless it's type 1. But type 2, you have eaten yourself into that problem. And the only way you're going to fix it, you got to eat yourself out of it. That's the only way. And it's going to take discipline to do it. Because appetite and passion are two of the greatest forces that we can be faced with. And the devil knows that. He knows that those two forces control us. In particular, appetite with women, passion is with men. And these are the two foundational errors that caused the fall of our parents in the beginning. And so we must get the victory over appetite. We got to do it. And it's a battle because the man that get the victory over appetite will get the victory over every other sin. So, but it will not be easy because the same sensation you get from eating use the same central nervous system to give you pleasure for making love. That's why when people get in the binge of eating, they actually pleasurizing themselves and they finding comfort in eating. But it's a very tough thing because, like I said, you enjoy eating. Eating is nice. You know, it's relaxing. And most of us do not know how to govern ourselves when it comes to eating. We eat too much. Ellen White said when we sit down to eat, we should get up with the same feeling we sat down with. Now, it's not many of us can do that. Not many can actually do that. We sit down and we get up drunk half the time, you know. We've overeaten. And the best time for that is our potlucks, which is an abomination for God in his house anyway. But that's when we really have liberty to overeat. When you're young, you can get by with some of that, but as you age, it catches up with you. So, but we're going to be looking at diabetes. And this particular class, if you can understand these charts are designed to accelerate your learning. If you can understand this class, you can write a disease program for every program. You're going to be able to do something that most medical missionaries cannot do, and that they can write a protocol. Most medical missionaries can lecture, they can talk about this and that, but when it comes down to actually writing out a treatment protocol, they have a lot of difficulties with that. This program is to help you to be able to do that. And if you can figure this one out, this is the easiest one, then all the others will be quite simple. Okay, I have charts for every disease. I have charts on vitamins. I have charts on herbs. Because you don't know what herbs to use, well, the chart tells you what herbs to use, how much to use, how to combine them together. You don't know what vitamins to use. The charts tell you what vitamins to use for what disease, how much to use. The charts will tell you what brought on the problem. What is the mineral, the vitamin deficiency? It tells you that, and it tells you how to fix the problem. So this system is based on the polygraph system of the lie detector. They ask the primitive lie detector, they would ask questions, and then they would simply keep a log of that, and they can tell if you're telling the truth or not. In this particular exercise, you can create a story and we can do it. But if you really want to know where you are, if you tell the truth, then the chart will harmonize with you. It would agree with you. But if you don't want nobody to know you're eating something, then you say something that's not true, then it won't harmonize with the chart. Okay? All right. So let's begin with our first page on the diabetic chart. Your blood sugar level can increase because of the food you eat. So everything you eat is converted to sugar. I hope you can understand that. Because the new philosophy is that do not eat anything sweet because sugar or sweet cause cancer. That's not necessarily true. If that's the case, we couldn't eat anything. I mean, we had to give up everything because all food that we put in our body is converted to sugar. So that means that our fats are converted to glycerol, which is a form of sugar. If you have ever tasted glycerin, glycerin is sweeter than honey. Vegetable glycerin is sweet. It's made from a fat. Your protein is converted to amino acids. That too has a sweet taste to it. Your carbohydrates, your vegetables and fruits are broken down to carbohydrates. Your body must break down every food, every element we put into our system to the simplest form. We can eat complex food, but our cells cannot do that. Our cells cannot eat complex food. They're like little babies. They need pre-digested food. That means your body must break those foods down to their simplest level. So when we eat tofu, we enjoy it. We know it's tofu, but our cells cannot eat tofu. What it does, it depends on your digestional system to break down that tofu to amino acids, to peptones and polypeptides. That's breaking it all the way down to the sugar level. When you eat greens and cabbage, your body, you can enjoy that, but your cells cannot eat that. In order for your cells to benefit, it must break down those cabbage and broccoli. It must break it down to a carbohydrate. And the same thing with fats. So everything you eat will eventually turn to sugar. Your body operates on sugar. Now, that don't give us a liberty to eat processed sugar. No, that's a different type of sugar. But in the end results, it all going to become sugar. The Bible said that, if you eat too much honey, you're going to get sick. But eat as much as sufficient for you. So is that saying something is wrong with honey? No, it means that you got to eat it in moderation. But if you're going to eat too much honey, it can cause some problems. So your blood sugar level can increase because of the foods you eat. Medication you take, lifestyle factors such as stress. Stress too can be a factor in elevating your blood sugar, your blood pressure, hindering your digestional process. So stress can speed up your metabolism, it can slow down your metabolism. If your metabolism speed up too fast, you will not be able to break down the foods to their natural, simplest level. So you don't excuse stress. Stress is really important. For example, eating a food that is high in refined sugar can cause a sudden rush of glucose to your body, which causes your blood sugar to go up quickly. This is why you drink a sugary soda or eat a piece of candy if your blood sugar level drops too low. And when you do that, it gives you quick energy, but it's not lasting energy. It's just quick and short. So you end up binging, constantly eating to pick yourself up. If you continue to do that, you will exhaust your adrenal glands and eventually you wear out your pancreas, and you end up either being severe hyperglycemic or hypoglycemic, adrenal gland malfunctioning. So all those things could take place because you're overusing the system. Both mental and physical stress, such as from illness or injury, can contribute to a high blood sugar level. This is the result of your body fight and flight response mechanism that cause your body to increase glucose level so that you can flee from danger. Now, in order for your body to be able to respond, it needs energy. If it do not have that energy, you would just sit there and scream and holler and freeze. But it needs that quick energy if this house catch on fire. And we all got to rush out this house before it burned down. You got to have quick energy to react and get out of here. If you just stand in the corner and just shake and holler, that means your cells do not have the proper amount of energy, and you freeze up. And so this is why you must be properly nourished. High glucose level, also known as hypoglycemia, only affect people with diabetes. The cause of hypoglycemia include overeating, which is a major problem for vegans and vegetarians. Typically, we eat too much food. And because we eat too much food, we don't feel full unless we reach or beyond that capacity every time. And if we fall short of that, we feel, I didn't get enough to eat, because we want that stuff filling. And this is typically of vegan vegetarians. They compensate from not eating the food in the world by overeating the healthy foods. Your body can only use a certain amount of healthy foods. Beyond that, those foods become free radicals. They become toxic to the system. So we're going to have to discipline ourselves to not to overeat. It will be a battle, though. Not exercising enough. When you exercise, you burn calories. That means that use up those calories that eventually become fat and cause you to gain weight. Taking not enough insulin. So now if you're not taking your insulin, then that's going to affect your blood sugar. We're going to find out natural things we can do for replacing the allopathic medicine. The Mayo Clinic website said that left untreated, high blood sugar level may lead to various or serious complications such as heart disease, kidney, eye disease, nerve damage, and coma. And there are many others. And the reason why this surplus, a large amount of sugar in your blood, can cause cardiovascular problems or heart disease is because it builds up in the arteries. A diabetic arteries are 10 years older than they are. So if you're 50 years old and you're diabetic, you're 60 years old. And also, there's a problem with the kidneys. If you remain a diabetic for many years, you're probably going to end up on dialysis, have some major kidney failure. A lot of your vision problems are associated with high level of sugar in your blood. The longer your blood sugar level is high, the more serious your symptoms become. And so we're going to have to understand how to deal with this. Now, down at the bottom of the chart, we see the three different categories of diabetes. We have the early diabetes, We have the normal diabetes, early diabetes, and the established diabetes. The normal diabetic condition should be a minimum between the minimum of 70 to the maximum of 120. Now, y'all may be using a different scale here. I'm not sure. What was that, sis? 5 to 8. Well, if, just put that in. I should have checked on that and put it in before I printed this. But this came out of my book. So, but if you're on a different scale, then, you know what your normal level is here. Just put that in. Your established diabetes, the normal between 126, minimum 101 to 126, and then established diabetes, anything over 126, and you're diabetic. At the very bottom, check your glucose level. If it is over 240, it is said that you possibly have elevated ketones. Ketones can cause the breaking down of your kidneys. If a person's blood sugar is over 240, it can cause them to use fat for energy. And if they're using fat for energy, that fat can damage the kidneys. And the worst thing you can do when the ketones are elevated is to overexercise. And I know that anytime you eat, you want to go for a long walk. But if the ketones are elevated up to 240, you should take a short walk, because all you're doing is bringing more damage to your kidneys. You're accelerating the metabolism, the breaking down of your kidneys. And that's because you're using fat for energy instead of glucose for energy. And your body will use fat because it's a form of sugar. But it's not the type of sugar that you want your cells to function on. Food made from starchy vegetables, grains, or flour, such as French fries, baked potatoes, bread, cakes, cookies, are all high in starches. All starches is pure sugar. All starches is pure sugar. Some starches will metabolize quickly, some will digest slowly. But once they're digested, they release the sugary content into the blood and will do the same thing as table sugar would do. Even though it don't begin being table sugar, it may begin as rice or potatoes. But once it breaks it down to the simplest level, it's going to be sugar. There are 3 different levels of sugar. It's monosaccharide, it's Latin for 1. Disaccharide for 2. Polysaccharide for 3. So those are 3 levels of sugar. And those levels will depend how fast the sugar or the food may be broken down. White sugar is a monosaccharide. So it's going to digest real quick and into the blood and into the cells. Potato may be a disaccharide. It may take twice as much energy to break down the potato as it would to eat white sugar. The end results, the potato going to be the same quality of sugar as the white table sugar. The only difference is it had not been processed. It has minerals, vitamins, and so on. But those minerals and vitamins are used for other portions, other functions of your body. We're not talking about that. We are talking about your blood sugar level and your blood sugar level only. I'm not talking about nutrition. I'm not talking about your liver needs some nutrients, your heart. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your blood sugar only. How would that potato affect your blood sugar? How would that rice affect your blood sugar? You say, well, I eat brown rice. Beautiful, you eat brown rice. But that has nothing to do with controlling your blood sugar level. Now, that has a lot to do with your nutrients for your whole body makeup. A lot. Yeah, it's more healthy. Yes, we should eat brown rice. But when it comes to being a severe diabetic, then it has no advantage of eating rice at all. Now let's go down to the diabetic risk points. Starchy foods, sweet foods, raise your blood sugar from 5 to 20 points, as listed in the table below. I have graded everything in this chart, all the foods. I graded the herbs. I graded your lifestyle. And I put a number right next to each item. It's going to have a plus or a minus. In the case of diabetes, minus are good, plus is bad. In the case of diabetes, plus is bad, minus is good. The plus let us know how much sugar it have, or how much starch it have, or how much fat it have in it. The minus let us know that it do not have as much. Do we understand that? So when we go down to the table at the bottom, a green banana is plus 15. Yams are plus 15. Dried fruits, plus 10. Jello desserts, plus 20. Plantain, plus 10. Cornmeal, plus 20. Okay, so now, potatoes, well, it's fruit juice, plus 20. Pasta, plus 20. Potato, plus 15. Cassava, plus 20. So that's telling me that these foods, most of them, are high in sugar. That means if I'm a diabetic and I eat these foods, I'm going to experience a sugar spike. It's going to take my blood sugar up. Any questions thus far?
Based on what you determine the numbers, why green banana is plus 15 and cassava is plus 20?
Mm-hmm.
And is this for a general, like a bowl of rice, or if you eat 2 bowls of rice, it's still 15, or is 15 plus 15? Or if you eat 3 potatoes, it's 15 plus 15 plus 15?
No, this is just an average serving.
It's average service.
Yeah, because everybody eat different. Everybody eat different quantities. So it's kind of hard to make a scale for everybody. So it's a general average serving. But the question is, how do you come to the conclusion to grade these foods? I mean, how do you conclude that a banana is 15 plus? Okay, well, when someone come to you, they want to know what you know. If a patient come to you and they said, look, I want to know what you know. They don't want to know what Wikipedia's know. They don't want to know what the doctor down the street want to know. They come into you because they feel that you is an authority on what you're talking about. So You have to be knowledgeable on these foods. And so if I ask you a question, which food would have the highest sugar content? Greens or bananas or some tofu? Which one would you say?
Banana and tofu. I would say tofu.
You said what?
Tofu.
Tofu?
I would think.
Okay. All right. So tofu would have more sugar in it than a banana. But yeah, okay. But that's what you would conclude, and that's fine if that's what you conclude. What if I asked you which food is the healthiest and the worst? Some pork, some fish, or chicken? Which one would be?
The worst.
The worst.
I would say pork.
The pork, okay. And which one would be the next worst? Chicken or fish? Chicken. So then fish would be the best. That's based on your knowledge of that food. That's why this chart is built on that. It's based on your knowledge. That's all your patient is coming. They don't want to know what big universities know. They want to know, do you know what you're talking about? You grade those foods based on your experience of those foods. But in order for you to grade those foods, you need to have some knowledge of those foods. You're just not going to be guessing. That means you have to have gone and studied those foods and to see what is the chemical makeup of those foods in order to make an intelligent decision on which one is the worst and which one is the best. How do you conclude that pork is worse than chicken?
Based on the studies that have been done.
It's what?
Based on the studies that have been done and the results.
Right. And you see what conditions derives from eating a lot of pork. And you know that fish is much healthier than pork and chicken because the track record testifies that you have less problems with that. That's not giving sanction to eating fish, but it do have a better track record. So you got validated information to prove that that's better. Now, at the same token, when it comes to that banana, a carbohydrate versus a protein, it don't take much research to learn that a carbohydrate has more sugar than a protein. All right? It don't take much research because your carbohydrates are pretty much going to be your plant-based foods. A lot of your fruits are carbohydrates, and this is a fruit. So it's going to have a little more sugar in it than the tofu. But once again, the person is coming for your knowledge. They're not coming for my knowledge. They're coming based on your experience. But you got to study your particular subject so that you can break it down and explain that. Okay, so now it said that fruit juice is 20 plus. And sweet fruit is 10 plus. What is the difference? What is the difference between fruit juices and sweet fruit? There's a 10-point difference, yes.
I think it's more concentrated.
It is. Okay, it's more concentrated in sugar. And so knowing that, I can grade that and say, well, the fruit juice is going to have more sugar in it than the sweet fruit. Because the sweet fruit is going to have elements in it that the juice will not have in it. So that's how the whole thing is graded, based on that concept. So let's go to the next phase. Fat and protein raise your blood sugar level from 5 to 20 points. Keep in mind your fats is converted to a sugar also. And fats are worse than many of your carbohydrates. Fats can cause you to be a diabetic worse than table sugar. Table sugar really do not make you a diabetic. It makes you continue to be a diabetic. But the fat and the grease is the major component that can make you a diabetic. And that frying food, when you fry food, you're really doing yourself a big injustice. And no health reformer should ever fry food. They shouldn't do it. It's the most unhealthiest process in the world to fry food. Well, you know, coconut oil don't really give, extra virgin olive oil don't give an advantage when you fry with it. You can go out and buy extra virgin olive oil, cold press, and try to fry with it. You just waste your money. You need to go buy the cheapest oil you can find and fry with it. Because the minute you fry with it, you destroy it. It's no longer cold press. And so typically what it is, when a fat globian is like that. That's a fat globian. And it has fat inside of it. That's a fat globian. Okay? When you fry, when you put heat to that heat break down. Anytime your metabolism, your body use your metabolism to break food down. Do you understand that? If you got a slow metabolism, your food is not going to digest well. So when you fry, you pre-digesting that food. You're removing the protein. There's a protein covering around that fat. You remove that fat, that means that protein, setting free that fat, pure fat. That's by heating it up. Your stomach should do that. Your gastric juice in your stomach should remove that fat. So if this was a cold press, this is a cold press right here, olive oil. It has a protein covering around it. That heat have not dissolved. The minute you dissolve that protein, it is a refined product. It is no longer cold press. And you don't want that. You don't want that. You want it to remain cold press. So that means you cannot fry if you're going to get the benefit of the protein and the fat. If you want a free fat, then you fry, you free the fat from the protein. Then you got a free fat. But the free fat become free radicals in your system, and it's floating in your bloodstream because they didn't go through the proper digestion system. So you don't need to fry. All food elements, digestible foods, should be covered in a protein. All of it. And it's the system of processing that remove the protein that makes it junk food. So this will start off with a complex carbohydrate. By frying it, we made it a simple carbohydrate. We made it junk food. Same as potato. This is a potato. We fried, we make French fries, fried potatoes. The French fries turn a complex carbohydrate to a simple carbohydrate. A simple carbohydrate is nothing but junk food. That's all it is. Because a lot of the nutrients that cover that fat has been what? Removed. Your body's not benefiting from that. All you're doing is getting a free fat. And you don't want that. Okay, so let's look at the fats. We know that flesh meat is high fat. It's plus 20. Fried potatoes are a plus 20. So now, is flesh meat worse than fried potatoes? Not based on this scale. But based on our mental perception, potatoes is a lot better than flesh food. Your cells do not care anything about your mental perception. They don't care nothing about that. They're not worrying about where that fat came from, animal, a pig, or what. All they want to do is to get what? Some fatty acids. I just want fatty acids. I don't care where it came from. You have the intellect and the wisdom to say, I don't want no fat from no pig. I get me olive oil fat. The cells don't care about that. All it wants is what? Fatty acids. So it can perform its job. So it can transmit nerve impulses and so on. So you have to eat for you first, and then you eat for your cells. And so you have to make a choice for your cells. Your cells don't have a right to make a choice. You make the right choice for your cells. So now, these animal fried chicken versus fried potatoes, when it entered into the system, it entered into the stomach. Your gaseous juice is removed as protein. It's fried potatoes. Your gaseous juices, your hydrochloric acid, your pepsin, dissolved as protein. And now the fat moves on out of the stomach into the small intestines, where the bowel and the gallbladder break down the fat. Fat is not digested in the stomach. The only thing digested in the stomach is that protein covering around the fat. But if you've already removed that protein, now you got a free fat sitting in your stomach. The hydrochloric acids can't operate. There's no mechanism in the stomach to break that fat down. That fat now can move on to the small intestine of free fat. And that's how you end up with fat in your blood. High cholesterol, high triglycerides, high LDL cholesterol in your blood, because you have removed the protein from the fat by pre-frying it, and now you set free that free fat into your bloodstream. Now, if I'm talking too fast, y'all slow me down.
No, when I ask you to fry, it means also to fry in a pan.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could fry some other kind of ways.
On a grill,
A grill? Yeah, I guess you could bake it on a grill. Okay, so now beans, dried beans, cooked beans is 10 plus. Butter is 20 plus. Your cow's milk is 10 plus. And your margarine is 20 plus. And it's continuing to go all the way down. Your vegetable oil is 20 plus. At the bottom, fat and protein are diabetic risk points. So far, it was shown how different foods increase your blood sugar level. And we've seen that with the last two graphs we looked at. Let's go to the next page. Okay. And this next page, we're looking at how lifestyle can affect your bowel. Your blood sugar level. So if you have 3 bowel movements daily, it's 10 manners. You should have 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. If you do not have 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, you're retaining the waste in your system. Now, if you continue to do that, it's going to clog your system up. And your system, in a starvation mode, will revert to cannibalism. It will feed on the toxic waste in your system. All right? It's going to revert to cannibalism and feed on the toxic waste. Because your cells do not have a brain to tell them that fecal matter is unhealthy. The cells don't care nothing about that. All it wants is, I need some protein. All right? That's all, because it don't have the intellect. God give us the wisdom to know and think for ourselves. But if we are controlled by our appetite, our poor cells are at our mercy. So if that waste is sitting in your system, it will reassimilate in your blood, and your cells will feed off of that filth. And that's why you end up with all type of complexion problems, All type of issues develop because you're feeding off of filth in your own body. So you need 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. When you wake up in the morning, you should have an ostrocolic reflex. That's the act of rising up out of sleep. Should stimulate peristaltics, and that should drive you to the toilet. When you get up, put your clothes on, begin to move around, walk in the kitchen, eat your breakfast, you should have another bowel movement. That's a gastrocolic reflex. That means gastro means stomach. The ostro was the colon. There was some feces in the colon just waiting to come out from the yesterday's meal. It's sitting there waiting. You get up moving around, it drops a little lower. Now you got to go. But the gastrocolic now coming from the stomach, it drops down. It's ready to come out. 2 bowel movements in the morning is really good. That's normal. Optimal is to have another bowel movement before you go to bed at night. Most people are not operating on an optimal level. And so if you have 2 bowel movements a day, it's 5 minutes. If you're having 1 bowel movement a day, it's 10 plus.
Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you eat 1 meal, you're supposed to have 3 bowels.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, if you eat 1 meal, you should have 3 bowel movements.
Okay.
Now, I've done this. People fast for a week or 2. And I can get tons of pieces out of them. Even when they're fasting. Okay? And you wonder where all this stuff coming from. So, your body processes food systematically and convert it to feces. So you shouldn't eat 1 meal a day. That's an unhealthy process, not healthy. You're going to be severely malnourished doing that. So you should eat at least 2 to 3 meals a day. But if you only eat 1, and that could be a large one, you're still going to have at least 2 bowel movements a day. Your quantity may not be there, but you still should have it. Okay, so now walking in the sun for 1 hour is minus 10. Drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water is minus 5. Drinking 7 glasses is plus 10. In your last meal, 5 hours before you go to bed, plus 30. On the second column, eating a 55% raw diet is plus 30. Eating an 85% raw diet is minus 20. Eating a 95% raw diet is minus 30. Walking after each meal, minus 20. Okay, let's go on down. Very important, considering diabetes, is the digestion process, which is highly affected by lifestyle. Between every meal should be a break of at least 5 hours because the food can remain up to 4 hours in the stomach. With a 5-hour break between the meals, digestion process, 5 hours between the meals, the stomach can rest, can take a break and rest. So now, when you eat, you should wait how long? 5 hours. So between each meal, you need to wait 5 hours. We're going to see that in the chart. If you eat before 5 hours, you will be penalized. If you eat anything between meals, you're going to be penalized. The more you penalize, the more it's going to take your blood sugar up. Okay? And then I just put at the very bottom, if you want this, It's just a formula for type 1 and type 2 diabetes. You just buy all of those ingredients, mix it up, and you can make your own formula and have your own natural insulin. Let's go to the next phase. And what page is that? Well, go to the page 5, the 5th page. Now, in this particular page, we're going to look at treatments. So, cinnamon, 500 milligrams is minus 15. Bitter melon is minus 15. Fenugreek, minus 10. Yucca, minus 5. Jerusalem artichokes, minus 5. And then whole grain, minus 5. Green bean juice, minus 20. Alfalfa, minus 5. And all the rest of those below is all minus 5. So we know that will take the blood sugar down.
Green bean is just any green bean or specific?
No, just all green beans. Okay, let's go to the next page. And this is basically the same chart we have on the board. We're going to go to the chart and we're going to work the chart. But I'm going to give you a preliminary first. And it won't be the same numbers because I couldn't put all the numbers on there from 0 to 300. But it's enough on that we can work it. At the very top, you got very high. So if your blood sugar come in that upper level, you're going to have really high blood sugar level. If it comes in the normal level, between 120 to 180, that's the normal level. If your blood sugar drops below 50, you are heading to the grave. Okay? You'll know it. More people are in the emergency room for blood sugar being too low than being too high. Okay. So let's go all the way over to our last page, and then we'll be able to go to the charts. This particular chart, we're going to operate on a 10-point scale. We're going to operate on a 10-point scale. That means every one of those squares represent 10 points. Every one of them squares represent 10 points. Over on the far left-hand side of me, all the way over here on this side here is your blood sugar level. This is your blood sugar level right here. From 0 to 260. On your page is 300. These are the hours during the day. They represent the hours during the day. Each one of these squares are 10 points. You can do a 5-point scale, you can do a 10-point scale. We're going to do a 5-point scale. So, what you have to do, you're going to have to evaluate your patient. Do an assessment. You won't diagnose. It's against the law for you to diagnose, but you can do an assessment. And so what you're going to do, you're going to analyze that person. Ask that person, what do you eat? Because your lifestyle and diet are going to determine what kind of condition you got. And so we're going to actually go through this whole. I'm going to ask 2 people to come up after I explain it, and you're going to do an assessment, and then you're going to evaluate, then we're going to determine where their blood sugar is. Okay? So basically the way it works is you ask them, what did they eat for breakfast? You analyze that breakfast by going through your charts. And then whatever you ask, do you eat rice? They say, yeah, I eat rice. Then you look on there and see how many points rice is. Then you say, did you put anything in your rice? They might have put butter, honey, or whatever in it. Then you look on there and you put that down, that number down. Then you say, what else did you eat? Well, I had some orange juice. You analyze, put that down. You ask, how many bowel movements you have? Well, I have 2 bowel movements a day. You put that down. How much water do you drink? You put that down. Do you walk after each meal? You put that down. You write up everything, and then you add up your pluses and subtract your minus. That's going to give you a number. If that number come out to be, say, 60, now the normal level is between 120 to 80. Now you put your scale on there. If you start that person, say, at 100, let's say we start him at 100, and we go, and after we do an evaluation of what he eating, his lifestyle and all that, it came out to be 60. So we'll say right here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay? And I probably could have did a 5-point scale, but I'll keep it 10. Okay, so that means that what that person ate that morning brought his blood sugar up from 100 to 160. Are you following me? Mm-hmm. His lifestyle, his food, and all of that brought his blood sugar up to 160. That's not having bowel movements, drinking, not walking, eating, all of that was added up in there. Now, after he finished, his blood sugar went up to 160. How long do he must wait before he eat again? 5 hours. So it come down 5 squares diagonally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. Now, what brought his blood sugar down back to 110? What brought it down? The natural process of metabolism and digestion and elimination. So now that means that you consume this, your body now, during that 5-hour period, is doing what with that food? After you eat, what, do it just sit in your stomach and do nothing? No, it breaking down carbohydrates. It's bringing down your fruits and vegetables to carbohydrates. It's bringing down your fat to fatty acids. It's bringing your protein down to amino acids. Why is your digestive system bringing it down to that? So your cells can eat. And why do your cells need to eat? So it can give you energy. When your cells eat, it's using up those calories. Are you following me? If you're using up the calories, those calories are not being stored in your body. They've been used up. So that means that they're not there to raise up your blood sugar. It's going to bring your blood sugar down. All right? That's the natural process of digestion. It's going to bring it down. So during those 5 hours, your blood sugar dropped because your digestion broke it down. Your cells are consuming it and ate it up, and it dropped it down to 110. Now,
excuse me. When we ask the question, we start from the normal.
Well, you can do it. There's 2 ways you do it. You check their blood sugar, and you start them where you check their blood sugar. All right? Now, in my school, we all have to learn how to check blood sugar. That's the first thing. The nurses come in, they teach them all how to check blood sugar. And then, through that way, if it came out to be 70, we would start them at 70. If it came out to be 150, we'd start them at 150. Then we do an assessment. And if it's started at 150, we start 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And that would have been way up here. So he would definitely have been a diabetic. Okay, so now 5 hours later, it brought the blood sugar down right there. After 5 hours, what are you ready to do again? Eat again. Okay? Okay, so now you got to do an assessment of his next meal. The same if you did with the first meal. When you do that assessment, let's say it come up to be 70. You said it's got to go straight up. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So his blood sugar now went up to 180. So now that's his second meal. If he's on a 2-meal a day program, he would stop right there. But if he's on a 3-meal, but not, let me bring it down first before I say that. After you ate that second meal, then it must do what? It must do what? Come down again. It's got, because you ate, you deposit in. Now you've got to eliminate it out. Your cells got to consume it. And the natural process is to bring it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right? So now, at the 2-meal a day program, your blood sugar is 130? Yeah, 130. So that means that you're a little above just borderline diabetic. You're borderline diabetic. All right?
Mm-hmm. I have a question. When do you check the sugar in the blood? Before the meal?
Mm-hmm. First thing in the morning.
Okay.
You want to do that? Yes.
What's about eating between meals? Are you
Okay.
the blood sugar before the second meal?
Okay, let me explain that. I'm glad you brought that out. So if during that breakfast meal, if it went up to 160, and he's supposed to wait 5 hours before he eat, but he get down here 2 hours later, right here, and he decide, man, I just want to eat me something. And we'll counsel not to even eat a peanut between meal. But if he eats something right here, you got to penalize him, and you look on the chart and you find out eating between meals how much you penalize him. It could be 10 points or it could be 5 points. I'm not looking at it, but it's on there. Then if it's 10 points, you go 5, 10. He move up to there. Now, he still got to finish his 3 hours out. He ate 2 hours into his fasting time. So he still got to finish the 3 other hours out to bring him to 5 hours. So you said 1, 2, 3. So now instead of him stopping at 120, 110, he's going to top out now at 130. Okay? It's 130. So that raised his blood sugar up a little higher because he ate between meals. Do we understand a general concept of it? Okay, now we're going to demonstrate this.
So on the second meal, do we do the blood sugar test or we don't?
You always check, if you're working, you check your blood sugar 5 hours after each meal. Now, if you check it before, you're going to get a false reading because the body still is metabolizing that food. Your blood sugar is going to be elevated. This is a mistake the medical system does. They check that blood sugar before 5 hours. Your blood sugar always going to be high. Right now, our blood sugar dropping pretty good. We ate about 9 o'clock? This is 8 o'clock? So 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's almost 12 o'clock. So right now, our blood sugar is pretty much dropping pretty good. But if we had checked our blood sugar at 10 o'clock, everyone in here would have been a diabetic. All right? Everybody would have been a diabetic. But because our pancreas is working good, it would have brought it down to a normal level. That's the reason why when they check you for a diabetes, they want to fast you first so that they can see that the day before they can run a real good test, they'll let you not eat anything so they can get an accurate diagnosis of what you are. So what I need now, I need 2 volunteers who want to come up, and we're going to do an evaluation. Okay, you and need someone else. Okay? Okay. Now, one of you will be a patient, and the other one will be the physician, and then you're going to do an assessment.
And I'm not checking you on video. You come on YouTube, but you are. Okay.
Okay. So you both will come. One will be over here, and the other one will be over here, and we're going to do it. Okay, so you can come over on this side. All right, and you stay on that side. Okay, now there's a marker right there, and here's a marker. Basically, what you're going to do is you be the physician, you analyze her, you do an assessment of her. Now, so you are going to help them. When she asks her, what does she have for breakfast? You're going to look on the paper and try to find out what it is and find out what number it is. And then you're going to write those numbers down, and then you're going to add them up. And then you're going to write them on the board. Okay? Now, you can abbreviate if you don't want to spell out the whole word for the sake of time. So let's begin first. Ask her, what did she eat for breakfast? You're trying to find out if she's a diabetic. Now, do I need to give her the mic? Does she need to prepare a mic? Okay.
So, what did you have for breakfast this morning? Fruits. And what kind of fruit? What fruit have you been eating? Apple.
Okay. So let's look up the fruit. Plus 10? Okay, someone write that down.
And what else? Okay.
Now, what we want is, now you here at this facility, that don't count. I didn't bring that out. It do not count here because this did not make you a diabetic. We need to see how you've been eating all along. You see what I mean? Because no. We need to see basically what in general you generally eat.
Okay. I eat fruits for my breakfast.
Okay. So this is fruit every day. And what kind of fruit?
It depends on the variety of the fruits. Yeah. But I don't mind eating not less than 5 fruits.
Okay. And then just kind of speak up because they want to try to record that. Do you put anything? What did she put in her fruit? It's just fresh fruit.
Fresh fruit.
Okay. So that's fine.
And seeds.
And so, and what seeds? Sunflower seeds?
Normal sunflower and pumpkin seeds.
Okay.
We need to check on sunflower.
Can one help us find it?
Seeds is plus 10.
Okay. Plus 10.
Okay, now we have the seed plus 10, the apple, or that is like vegetable.
I have a question. She just said she eats several fruits in the morning. Yeah. So is it per fruit plus 10?
All we're going to do, we're just going to go for just serving. Because if we do that, then it'll be too complicated. Just an average serving. Now, if she overeat, then that'll be a different penalty. But right now, we're just going to deal with average serving.
So it's 1 time 10. And 1 time 10 to the seeds,
Yes.
10 to the fruits.
So that would be 20.
20.
Plus 20.
Mm-hmm.
It's only
So we would start with plus 20.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, is that all you eat for breakfast?
Yeah.
Okay, but let's go with the...
And you drink something in the morning also? Or are you
Lemon water. Lemon water.
Okay. So now you can go ahead and get all your water out the way. How much water do you drink?
A large glass.
How many glasses a day?
8 glasses.
Okay, so 8 glasses a day. You want to look that up and put that down. Okay, put that down. Now you need to ask her about some lifestyle things, about how many, does she walk at the meal? Does she have bowel movements?
Do you go for a walk after your meal, like,
Not always.
not always? So once a day or
I
not
walk every day, but
You
not
walk every
after dinner.
after each meal?
No.
So like after lunch, for example? Okay. So.
I walk every day 12 o'clock because I'll be breaking work.
And what about your bowel movement? How many bowel movements do you have?
Once, and sometimes one.
One.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So
But
not every day or every day?
every day one.
One.
It will depend.
Okay.
It can be two, but it's never been done.
Okay, so now this walking is, she do not walk after each meal. Y'all got that down, right? Work is not walking. Work is not exercise. It's totally different. You can be walking up and down the hall miles and miles. That's not exercise. That's work.
No, she's saying she walks after
But
when
not
she's
two.
on a break.
But she have to do it.
2 o'clock after.
But she have to do it after a meal. So she'd have to be penalized for that.
Plus 20.
Right.
I don't want to lie.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay. So, and then the bowel movements, you put that down, right?
So once only.
Yeah.
Plus
Yeah.
But the bowel movement and the walk, now we are talking about the breakfast, right? So, and she said that the walk was after lunch. It's about 2 o'clock. So now we only can count the bowel movements in the morning.
You get it all out the way.
Yeah.
It's all out the way. So you don't have to evaluate that on the next meal.
Oh, okay, so you put it all in the first meal.
Right. The bowel movements, the water is done at the first time. You don't have to do that anymore. Okay, so now I guess that covers you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to add that up, sis? You can add that up.
Okay, I didn't count.
They'll give it to you.
We've got fruits plus 10. And then we've got the penalized and bit
should be
until
55.
80.
Okay. Can we someone?
Plus 10 minus
So
5 plus
penalized
20
what
plus
did we
10.
give?
Yes, because you have bowel movements, you have the water, onion.
The fruit is plus 10.
Yes.
The seeds is
Okay.
plus 10.
And then let's go one at a time. You're going to write that on the board over on this side.
Okay, the fruit
Plus 10.
Plus 10.
Seeds plus 10.
seeds
Plus 10.
plus 10
Minus 5 water.
Minus 5 water.
is minus 5.
Plus 20 because you don't
Plus
walk
20
after meals.
because she didn't walk after meals.
Okay.
And plus 10 the bowels. Those are the ones.
So walk.
Yeah,
And
the
one
bowel.
bowel movement is?
Plus 10.
Plus 10.
Plus 10.
So 20, 30, 40, 50, 45. So plus 45.
You haven't finished.
So this is we start at plus 45.
Okay. So now, if we don't know what her blood sugar was, and she's not a confirmed diabetic, we'll start at about 100.
We start at about 100.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here.
Uh-huh. And count up 45.
Okay.
10-point scale.
It's around here.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. Okay.
So then I have to take this out, right?
Okay. Now what is happening to her now?
She's digesting.
And then how long would it take?
It depends on her because I don't know if she's
That's right.
eating in between meals. So
Right.
I'm putting that.
okay. So at what time did you have breakfast in the morning?
I always have my breakfast. It's not breakfast, to be honest. It will be maybe like 10 or 11.
10 or 11.
Yeah.
So we have.
I'm late.
Okay.
So then we go down 5 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we are at 90.
Right. Okay. So now we need to do an assessment of her second meal.
Exactly. So what are you eating for lunch?
5 o'clock. I eat. It will depend. I eat my thick porridge.
It's like
Yeah, thick porridge, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and
Correct.
vegetables.
features around.
Fried vegetables.
Fried vegetables.
Okay, we take one at a time. Now, what was the first one?
The
Cornmeal is plus 20.
corn.
plus
Cornmeal.
See? Okay. I go with plus
What did you see that say?
Then we have the fried vegetables.
Cornmeal.
Okay, so fried The fat will be the one you're looking at. So either if we're going to say fried foods or fats.
Plus 20 also.
Plus 20.
Mm-hmm.
Fried.
Plus 20.
So you had the fried vegetables, the corn, and what else? Did you eat something more?
No.
No.
Maybe it will be rice sometimes.
A little bit of rice sometimes.
Do you mix Santa with
No,
rice?
no.
No.
We're talking about
Okay.
one
One
meal.
meal.
Cornmeal, yeah.
This is only the cornmeal
Cornmeal
and fried
and
vegetables.
vegetables, yeah. Let's say stir fry.
How about the beans?
Okay.
Do you drink something with it? Or
No.
you don't drink with it?
No, I don't.
Okay, so this is the whole meal. So this would be plus
Mhm.
40.
No, your meal is not finished.
It's not complete.
We are cheating you. Your meal is not complete. No, you don't eat only the vegetables without beans or anything.
I've got a problem with beans. I don't normally eat them every time.
Okay.
Question, there's also things about raw diet or less. If there is no raw thing, does it also mean there is plus and minus?
It does. Yeah. Yeah. And she's not eating no raw foods.
She does not have
I
a
do eat raw food. On different days.
So this is okay. So then we have to make it for another day. in a different way.
Okay, but from what we're getting now, we don't see no raw food.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no raw food. Yeah.
right.
So now we go up with plus.
Okay, but now with the no raw food, we're going to have to consider what she brought out.
So are we
Yeah.
penalizing her?
Okay.
But no raw food.
Plus 30.
Yeah. Plus 30.
No raw food plus 30.
Okay.
55.
So then we go
Or
plus
less.
30. Then we have 70.
Mhm.
Plus 30.
No raw.
You should have considered that also for breakfast.
It's conclusive. I mean, throughout the no raw food.
But for breakfast, she had fruit, and this is raw.
There's 80% or is 95%. Make a difference, right?
Yeah.
70.
So you should minus some.
Yeah, you would have to minus that fruit from the raw. So it wouldn't be, it'd change. So what was the raw food?
In the morning with the
Fruit and
It was 10. It's just already figured in.
yeah.
It's already figured in.
We will put minus 5.
It's already figured in. The raw fruits is already figured in. Yeah.
Because on the chart saying if you have 85% raw diet, then you should reduce 20. So
Yeah.
what we consider raw diet is 55%, 85, or 95%.
Right. But see, we had already figured that in. It's already, now we can figure it over here, but we'd have to take it off. But it's already figured in. It's already in. So let's go ahead and calculate this over here.
So you want to put the 70 on
Oh, yeah,
this.
because the raw food has already been calculated in.
Okay. So we go
Straight up.
70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are here.
Okay. So now her blood sugar went up to 160. So now you want to come down 5.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. So you're not a diabetic.
110.
All right. The only thing is, if we had done this on the fibroids, polycystic ovaries, I guarantee you would have been up there.
Yeah, right.
You'd have been there because this is a perfect recipe for polycystic ovaries, fibroids, or breast tumors. Because you're not eating enough vegetables, and you need to really look into that. This is not a good healthy diet. It's not balanced.
So when am I going wrong? It's not balanced.
It's not balanced.
Okay.
You should have a raw salad with that. If you're going to eat that corn, stuff that y'all eat,
Start with the
I would eliminate the fried vegetables, make a big tossed salad to go with that.
because they start they only talking about we Africans. I think when they taught us wrong by frying
I know.
vegetables, I'm going to change
Right.
when I leave here.
Yeah. Change it. Okay. Now we need someone else to come up and do it. I mean, it'd been good if we had a diabetic so that we can see exactly what it is and then we can correct it. So, but if two other people want to come up and we can do it. And like I said, this is about showing you, because she's not a diabetic, and that's good. She's not a diabetic. There may be some other problems there, but this is only dealing with diabetes. But she's good on that. And two more people.
In case when I won't do it.
I have a question. Let's say we're using the chart, and after 5 hours, we make our calculation based on what the person eat. If after the 5 hours, we check the blood value or the sugar, and the two are not corresponding according to the chart.
Mhm.
So what value we take and we put in the chart? The same after we start with 100 in the morning, like here, 140. After 5 hours should be was 100 was 90, but checking the blood sugar is 150.
Well, I mean, it could vary. That could deal with how the consumption. It shouldn't vary very much, but it could be they could have eaten more than they should have. They could have taken it up an extra 10 points. But it should be close. It should be very close, within 10 points. It should be there. And you put that in there just in case somebody decides to eat a little more than.
Put the blood value instead of our calculation.
But it's going to be real close because those foods will not raise that blood sugar up. The manners won't do it.
Or the person applied could be also.
Right. And so I would advise you to check the blood sugar before you do this to see how accurate it is. And it is really accurate. And this is with every disease, whether it's fibroids or cancer, it will come out the same way.
This value or the plus and 20 or minus is only for the diabetic in this case.
Right.
If it's another chart, the banana will have another value or still plus value.
That's right. Each chart is designed for that particular disease.
Because I'm working for 12 hours a day. I will leave at home 6:30 and I'm coming home 7:30. And I can't move.
Right. See, health is not based on your situation. Health has already established principles, guidelines. Okay. We'll wait. Okay. Let me explain. If you work in night shift, if you work in really bad hours, you make an adjustment for that. But health don't do that. Your health don't adjust because you are out of harmony with it. The curse causes it shall not come. So you have to know the reason why I have problem is because I'm working a 12-hour shift. Right. And so you're going to have problems with that. So as long as you understand that, you can work toward trying to fix that. Right. Well, okay, let's go ahead and let's try this one and see how it turns out.
Right. She uses a different system, like different from the numbers, because in the UK it would be like your low blood sugars will be below 4.
Okay.
And normal will be between 4 and 8.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And high, anything that's 8 and above, that's high.
Right.
So we start with in the morning your blood sugars will be about 7.
Maybe 7.
So your normal is that your 100.
Oh, yes, my 100.
So we'll start with
Okay, so now what we want to do now is we want to do an assessment of her lifestyle and her meals.
yes. Okay. So
Breakfast.
Breakfast, I'll usually have porridge. And in my porridge, I usually have peanut butter.
Okay, we got to analyze the porridge first. Let's get that.
What porridge? My porridge, it can be oat porridge, it can be porridge from millet.
So that's going to be a starch.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the starch? Plus 20?
The oat corn is plus 20, then the corn is plus 20.
Okay.
So I eat one. I don't eat both.
So you don't eat both?
Just one. Yeah. So which one do you want? You normally eat? I normally eat the maize one. One plus 20. Yeah.
That's 20. This is not good.
Shut up. Then I in my porridge I usually put peanut butter.
Peanut butter says nuts and seeds, right?
Yeah.
Yes, nuts and seeds.
So plus 10.
Then I usually have the fruit. The banana or whatever I have in the house. So a fruit, just one. Then I have a cup of tea.
Plus 10.
Then I have a cup of tea.
Water.
Tea.
Tea. So it's going to be drinking between meals.
Yes.
With meals. Drinking with meals. With meals.
Tea.
Drinking between meals.
It's probably going to be about 5 plus 5. I don't know if I put that on there, but it's the same as drinking water. How many cups do you drink a day? One.
Not a day. In the morning. One.
Probably going to be like water if I don't have that tea on there.
What do you put in your tea?
Sugar. 1 teaspoon.
Let's get the sugar, then we'll get the water, because water ain't going to be no money.
Honey with sugar is plus 1 teaspoon.
Give us only one.
Sugar. One.
Honey or sugar, it says plus 20.
Put sugar.
Yeah.
Plus 20.
So plus 20.
Mm-hmm. And the water, go back to where drinking with water, what was that?
Drinking.
It'll be the same as water.
Where it says drinking water.
How many glasses of water you drink a day?
I'll drink my 2 liters or more because I'll drink my tea and still drink my water.
Mm-hmm. I believe it's 5 points. That's what it is.
Minus 5.
Well, hers going to be plus 5 because she between meals. Yeah.
Plus 5 or plus 10.
I have a question, because peanut butter is toasted, isn't it?
It's
roasted peanuts.
Yeah.
So we have roasted fat, and roasted fat is
That's true.
very bad.
Yeah, you analyze that. Yeah, because the peanut is a legume, and they add oil to it, which is a fat. So you would have to, if you do it right, you would have to analyze that as a protein and a fat, because that's how our body gonna deal with it. So you're going to go back and correct that. She's right. That peanut butter is a fat and a protein. So the protein is what? What is?
That's an oil plus 20.
Plus, okay, what was the protein?
The protein.
Like a nut, nuts or seeds, what was that?
Nuts and seeds plus 10.
Plus 10. Now the fat is what?
Plus 20.
So that'd be 30.
But it's fried also, I mean,
It's fried.
so she needs to get analyzed,
You're right.
isn't it?
That's right. But you're right.
I'm sorry.
But that's the way you do it. That's the way you analyze it.
That's how
So the
So we got that. Now 5 pounds.
Oh, okay, so let me see.
same as plus 20.
We have
So is it
fried
now 50 now?
fried
50, yeah?
Fat
plus 20.
plus 20.
It's plus 20.
Plus 20.
Good 50.
Mm-hmm.
drinking water.
Plus 5, is it?
Is that plus 5?
With the meal.
Drinking between the meals. Is this a
Drink
plus?
between the meal is good.
Is
Between.
it water?
I think we got,
She's drinking between the meals?
No, she drank the tea.
If I eat and drink tea, I'm drinking
Jury,
with milk.
between jury.
So I'm drinking with the milk, so I don't know.
It's jury.
Yeah, because I'll be eating my porridge and drink tea.
Drinking tea.
Then,
So that's what we want to know.
How much is it?
You got the number?
It's going to be drinking with your meals. It's going to be 5 plus 5.
Plus 5.
Mhm.
What else?
no, I'm done.
So that's breakfast.
Well, no, she's not done. Her lifestyle, bowel movements, walking with meals, after meals.
Usually I have one in the morning.
No more one?
In the morning.
You need no more.
Depends.
That's all right, sis. We go get that together.
This is just in the morning.
Yeah.
This is my morning.
This is just in the morning. So let's deal with the morning first.
Well, no, you can get all the bowel movements out the way.
Yeah.
All the bowel movements out the way.
Oh, should I do
How many bowel movements she have a day?
all day?
2.
So it's 2.
So minus 5.
Minus 5.
Anything else? Walking?
Walking.
No.
That's plus 100.
So walking plus 20.
I'm going to make this.
I just try.
Try to wake up.
Oh, okay. So that's plus 20.
Yes.
Okay.
What else do we need to analyze?
That should be it, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's all.
Now, did you know what your blood sugar normally run?
It starts about 7.
7.
7.
In the morning when I wake up.
But you taking medicine?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not accurate then. So go ahead and add that up. Add up your pluses and subtract your minus.
That's 80. That's 90. That's 110.
Yeah.
Then minus 10. Minus 5.
What's that one?
150.
Is that 150?
There's a plus 5. I missed
That's
plus 5.
plus 5 there.
That's
So add that.
70, 80,
120.
100, 120, 125 minus 5. That's 120.
120.
Yeah.
So we start here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a 10-point scale.
So it's a 10 point scale.
Yeah.
So how many are
10.
Yeah.
110. This one.
100. We'll start with 100.
Yeah. So you want to count and
120. 200.
Okay. And now she got to bring that down 5 points.
Bring it back.
Her body's processing that diagonally. No. Uh-huh. No. No. Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's a diabetic after her first meal. And now her second meal.
All right. My second
So we can see what the problem is, right?
Yeah.
And she is a diabetic. So the chart is accurate. It is. Only reason why she's at 7 is because she's taking medication. If she wasn't taking that medication, her blood sugar would be up 170, 200. It'd be up there. So the chart is right on key. Now, I tell you what I want to do here is we're not going to do the next meal. We already know.
Doesn't even have lunch, so we can't do anything.
Yeah, okay.
I only eat in the evening. I eat in the morning and eat in the evening when I come back.
It's going to be high.
Let's do that.
It's going to probably be 300-400. It's going to go off the chart.
Let's do that.
But what we want to do now is to show how to fix the problem.
You want
Okay, sis, you can sit down. She can sit down, but you stay up. You stay here. Yeah, because now you have. Okay.
No, she wants to find out.
She wants to
about
stay
the
here.
result.
You want to do the second one?
I wanted to do my,
Yes.
my next
Okay.
meal.
All right.
today.
Okay.
Do it. Whether-
So you want to do it?
No, I do. Because I
Okay,
eat
okay.
2 meals.
Okay.
So it's after.
After how many hours
It's
you
not
eat?
after.
Not like I
It's not
start
gonna be
work
after
9.
5 hours.
I come back in the house 4. So I snack during the day. I be drinking this because I don't have time. I have to be. I move. So from one place to another. So I have to be quick, and when I get there, I just wait. And then
So the next meal is when? How many hours after?
it's 5.
Is it
5 hours?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay,
I
so
get home at
that's
4.
okay.
I get home at 4.
You
So I have
you
to
have
cook.
eaten around 8, isn't it?
Yeah, I eat maybe 9, quarter to 9. Then I leave. I'm back home at 4. Cook, eat. Yeah,
After
around
6,
5.
5.
5.
So
5.
it's more than that.
It's
More
about 6
hours.
hours.
More than 6 hours.
It's more than 6
About 8 hours
It's
later.
about 8 hours, isn't it?
So we should go down lower.
Yeah.
It's not 5
It's
hours.
minimum 8
It will be
hours.
fasting.
So,
So should we go there?
No, you can't do that. You can't. See, what you cannot do, you cannot make an adjustment because she's doing something wrong. You're supposed to eat 5 hours after each meal. That's it. You don't make adjustments because it's no way it would work like that. There's standards set, like the 10th Commandments. You don't make an adjustments in the 10th Commandments. There's 5 hours between each meal. It have to stay like she may be on a 12-hour plan eating. That's still not good health. Okay, so you stay. She's got to stay at right where she is. You start calculating her second meal right there at 170.
Okay.
May I ask you mean, for example, I'm eating just before I eat, and then I'm eating between 2 and 3 o'clock. It is too much time in between.
Well, see, this is the reason why we have problems because we are not following the guideline. And we're hoping to have good health and violating health principles. You can't violate health principles and expect to maintain good health. So either you have to modify or accept the fact you're going to have problems. It's just the way it's going to be. Right.
Okay.
Okay, we read it. Let's.
all right.
Okay, what do you need to
Right, let's say.
What are we leaving out? Do we factor in the walking?
Right, let's go. All right, yeah. Yeah, corn milk.
That's
20.
So she's having cornmeal again.
Yeah.
Which meat?
Either or. Chicken. Or
Okay, so but it's fried or baked.
Is it fried or cooked?
At times, it depends on the mood. I
Give
can
us
fry,
from
and
there.
I can just boil and eat vegetables.
So is it fried or
Fried.
fried what? Beef?
Beef, yes, beef.
So if it's fried, it's fat
What
oil,
is the meat?
Yeah.
it'll be plus 40.
How many is it?
Plus 40.
What is the meat? I can't see which
It's
one.
veg.
Fried and the beef.
And veggies.
Which page is
Flesh,
that?
flesh
Which?
meat.
Yeah, which page?
Place 3.
So veggies.
Thank
Cooked
you.
or fried?
Oh,
Fried.
fried.
Okay, now what else was that?
Vegetables fried.
Okay, so she got fried beef and she got fried
So
vegetables.
it's double again.
That is same thing, double.
Plus what? Plus what is one?
Plus 40, right?
Yeah.
My cup of tea. That cup of tea, drink it with sugar. I'm drinking it with it. But I'm eating. I will drink it.
Wow,
Plus 20.
Yeah,
Plus 5 again.
this is not good.
But it's a good thing to have. To learn from.
Yeah,
yeah.
Give me the figures.
Plus 5.
Is that plus 5?
plus
Yeah,
5.
with sugar plus 5.
Well, the sugar's in it.
There's sugar in it.
Yeah.
Sugar is
1.
It don't make any difference. The sugar is sugar. Yeah,
No, it's 1.
Sugar and honey. That
And
means
it's
that's
plus
plus
20.
Plus 20.
plus
Plus 25.
Plus 25.
plus 25.
Yeah.
think we need a calculator.
Yeah, then I'm done.
Not dessert.
No, not a dessert person.
Okay. So this.
And from there, after this, I'll go for a walk.
Okay.
After this.
Okay.
Then I'll go for a walk.
Well, let's put them
That's my last.
walking after. It should be after.
That is when I have time. In the morning, I'm just
Walking.
Walking
Yeah,
after
Minus 20.
minus 20.
Can you give us a,
Now she walk. Do you walk one time after meal or after each meal?
No, I work once in the morning. I'm so much in a hurry. I just wake up and go, and then come back, cook, eat, and then go for a long walk.
Okay, but that's just one time a day.
Yes, that is why.
Yeah,
I
that's
put
different.
walk on the other side.
Because you have to walk after each meal.
So you already counted in the morning, so you can just cancel.
Okay.
In the morning I
She
didn't
doesn't
walk, but
walk.
now I walk in the evening. I walk.
So it cancels itself.
Yeah, it does. It cancels that.
itself.
You got to take this one out. That one's canceled because it's already over here. She don't walk after each meal. So this is wrong.
Okay. So I shouldn't walk.
You should. You need to walk.
Cancel.
Okay. So let's add it up.
So she'll take it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's plus 125.
125. So where are we?
No, they are not
Just 170 over here. When you stop on your chart,
during.
you got to count up
So I need 125.
Yeah.
We don't have enough.
just to go to the top of the chart. Stop right there.
That is what I can
So once it get up that high, it don't matter.
Yes.
If she's going to be up around the 300-400 bracket, which is mean that she is in trouble. If she continue this, she's going to be on dialysis, or she's going to go blind. I'm going to tell you right now. Only thing helping her is taking her medicine. Keep taking your medicine until you're ready to make some changes. If you wasn't taking your medicine, you would have some serious problem because it's taking some of that sugar out of your blood. But if you wasn't taking that sugar be in your blood, you would already be serious eye problems. You would already have a lot of stress on your kidneys. So that's really too high. The best thing you're doing is not walking, because I believe your ketones are probably elevated. And you don't need to try to walk to bring your blood sugar down, because that would put more stress on your kidneys. So you either need to come here, go through a program, or you need to get on a program at home, because that is a recipe for serious problems right there. Yeah. No, you can't do any exercising if your ketones are elevated. She needs to go to a pharmacist, get some ketones, urine sticks, dipstick, and she needs to put an ounce of urine in a cup, put a dipstick in it, and see if her ketones are elevated. If her ketones are elevated, she don't need to do no strenuous walking or exercise until she bring her blood sugar down.
No, stress for your ketones.
This is urine.
She can get them with the
Yeah.
with the same
Mhm.
blood testing. So you get this.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Another question is, if she's taking some medication against blood sugar and diabetes, is it also possible that she can buy the things your son has found?
I'm sorry, you got to come back. Do that again, sis.
When she's taking some medication against diabetes,
Yeah.
is it okay to buy the things your son has
Well,
found?
this is what we're going to go through now.
Okay.
We're going to, he's the physician, he's going to fix the problem. So you can take all that off there.
So
Just erase that.
everything.
hmm So now he has did an assessment. When you take in a patient, you sit down and you do an assessment, just what you just did. You use the chart to do an assessment. Now, after you do an assessment, you got to write up a treatment protocol. It will teach you how to do the assessment. Now you know what you're dealing with. You know what caused the problem. You ascertain the problem. Now you have to fix the problem. Okay, so now we need to see how we can change her diet. We're going to change her diet. We're going to use herbs. We're going to use lifestyle to bring her blood sugar down. We're going to start her at 260. She's going to start at 260. Yeah, she's starting right there. Okay, so now y'all look on it and tell him what diet you need to put on to bring it down. How can you modify her diet to bring it down? Okay, you
So, I need the foods, isn't it? You'll write the foods on the side that you guys are saying.
He's going to write it down.
So that I have the numbers as well, so we can compare.
I think what's very good is a raw diet, because here we go down to -30.
Right. So a raw diet. Okay. That's plus what? I mean minus what? Minus 30. Is there any other things we can put with the minus diet that will that bring her blood sugar down?
Green bean juice. Minus 20.
So the green bean juice was minus 20.
And then we put cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Minus 15.
Cinnamon is minus 15.
Cinnamon.
And your recipe here, minus 30.
Okay, and the diabetic recipe?
Cinnamon minus 15.
Minus 15.
And what else?
The recipe here, diabetic formula. 3 times daily, minus 30.
On which page you can find it?
Page 4.
Okay, thank you.
Minus
30.
30.
And she need to walk, right? I mean, in water.
You need water and walking.
3 hours.
3 hours, yeah. Minus 10.
We can give her 3 pounds.
Maybe she needs an NM.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to reduce some.
Water?
Minus 5.
Minus 5.
Walking under the sun 1 hour is minus 5.
Island is no sun, my friend. Sun.
Walking after each meal is minus 20.
So, minus 20.
Yeah. With the walking after meal.
Let us not end up with a hypo.
Yes, I thought
Because where the numbers are coming from.
Okay.
Because if she's going after 5 hours after a meal, it will reduce to minus 20. If she's going after 5 hours.
So you eat at 5?
After having a meal. Yeah.
What time you go to?
Well, you had to put. You are the physician. You know eating at that late is bad. So you have to put her at a decent time to eat.
I'll penalize it.
Was sleeping at 10.
Well, no, you're not penalizing her now. You fixing the problem. So what you want to do is to put her at a
It's at the right time.
right time. Right.
So you eat at the right time?
Yeah, it is the right time.
If the last meal is 5 hours, is minus 20.
Minus 20.
So minus 20.
For the eating and sleeping.
Okay, let's add this up now and see what we got. Now, this would bring, if she followed this, in less than 10 days, her blood sugar would be in a normal level, close to it.
That's minus 120.
Yeah.
That is 50.
What else?
65.
Is that it?
95. 100. 140. Minus 140. Yeah.
So is this the problem?
Minus 140.
Minus
It's minus
140. Yeah.
So is this the complete problem that you guys think is best, or is there anything else that you want to add? That's the question.
It's not enough.
No, I'm asking.
No.
Would we say this is enough?
No, let's add it and then we can see.
It's minus
what
140.
Eight cheese.
The only thing I would add to that is licorice root to keep her blood sugar from dropping too low, or stevia or something like that. Just to keep her from bottom out too low.
What is that?
Licorice, it's on here.
So
Licorice, number page 5. It's plus 5.
plus 5.
But we didn't count any food in it.
There's no food. This is punishment plus a food. Punishment plus
Yeah, it has a raw diet.
what is ordered?
And the reason for the raw diet is because she's in a critical state. We need to get that blood sugar down quick. Under normal circumstances, we could have given her cooked foods, soups and broths and steamed vegetables. But because we want to get it down to take the stress off those kidneys, that's why I agree with the raw diet.
So you're on raw diet.
You've got to drink.
Okay, let's do this now. So we have.
So it's minus 135.
135. So we need to
Come straight down.
So we need.
Start with plus 5.
Next
Let's start 10.
Number 2 books from.
So we started from there.
Yeah.
260. And then where are we on?
Come straight down.
Straight down.
10, 10, 20.
Is that 135?
135.
So 135.
Mhm. And the reason it could bring it down is because there's nothing here that's going to raise her blood sugar. Nothing. And then you're giving her the insulin. Remember now, she started at 7, right? She started, which is about, in a normal range. This program is bringing her just about down what that insulin was doing for her. But it don't have the adverse side effects of it. So it's, with that insulin formula, with this diet, it's doing a better job than with that medicine she's doing. And she don't have to worry about the adverse side effects.
Does that make sense? Do you want a picture of it?
Yeah, do take a picture. I need a phone.
Okay, so if you got this, and I feel like y'all really smart, y'all pick this up, that means that I can show you how to treat every disease. Before you leave here, you should know how to write up a program for every disease. So what I want you to do for your homework, I want you to write me up a treatment protocol for diabetes and turn that in tomorrow. This is what we do at our school. Every day you get homework, you turn it in, I evaluate it. That way I know you understand it. And less than 30 days, they can treat every disease it is.
So this, we're going to make a protocol based on the chart.
Yes,
Only with these products here.
right.
So there is no need to any other treatments like colonic,
No,
just this.
just this, right.
Should I delete this?
Expanding the medication.
What was that?
You do with the medication.
She won't need that, because if she takes that medication with this, she don't want to take both of those.
What about the toxin on the medication? Now she's having it in the body. Are we going to resume that less somehow, or they're going to interfere?
The insulin is not going to leave much in her. There won't be much toxicity from it. I don't think there'll be any problem with that. But she will be going through a cleansing along with this. This is just a general treatment. But you can still do coffee enemas. You can still do a steam bath. You can still do those things, a salt glow. But I wouldn't really worry about the insulin toxicity, because it's not that much to be left in the system, because you got to take it every day to maintain it.
Because normally many diabetic, they take also other medication. Because maybe they have heart problems, so they take blood pressure medication.
Yep. See, that's because that it has created other problems.
The other sides.
Right.
So if she lose weight, let's say, because she might lose weight.
That's right.
So, you would recommend her a raw diet and all of what we have been writing down, and you would not give her the medicine anymore? Or you
I would monitor her, because see, what the doctors tell her is that they should tell her, check your blood sugar regular. If your blood sugar is low, don't take your insulin. That's how you end up in the emergency room. You end up in the emergency room, your blood sugar is low. You say, my doctor told me to take my insulin every day. It's already low. You take the insulin, boom, you're in the emergency room. More people go to the emergency room for blood sugar being too low than being too high. So if that sugar is low, if your blood sugar is low, don't take that insulin. They say eat a piece of candy or eat a piece of cake or fruit to bring it up if it's too low. So you don't want to bring it down any further. That's serious.
Because I hear some diabetes saying I need to eat some sugar. I always need to have my sugar with me. So this is because the medicine
It's dropping them too low.
Too low. So they're taking the medicine and they're eating sweets.
They're doing themselves a terrible injustice. They should check their blood sugar. If it's low, they need to cut back on their insulin or stop taking it and monitor it. If it go up, go back to take it if you have to have it. But that's the only way they're going to get off of their medicine. The safest part about diabetes is you should not take your medicine if it's too low. You should not do it. If it's too high, you should take it. But this program, you won't need to take it because it won't be too high. Okay, we'll stop right there then. And very good class. I think y'all really got it. Y'all really quick. So I wished I had you for 30 days. Okay. Let us have a word of prayer. Dear loving Father, which art in heaven, Lord, thank you so much, Lord, for your kindness. Thank you, dear Father, for this session here. And Lord, let us continue, Lord, to grow and be prepared, Lord, to reverse some of these complications of life. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.